So gentlemen, I welcome you to our channel. So let's start our daily review of the S&P 500 Bitcoin and Ethereum. What happened today? Well, actually, the S&P 500 has gone to 4,030. He's been here for a while. There were attempts to lift 4.050, after which there was a roll back to 4,030 again. Tomorrow, data on the labor market for open vacancies will be released, and these data have huge values and, in fact, they will determine where. Tomorrow, the S&P 500 may continue its movement again. We are waiting for the main data. Of course, on Friday there will be employment in the non-agricultural sector. It will determine where, in fact, the market will actually go, because this, as I said before, will affect the previous video. Not mediocre on the decision on the Fed rate, so what we see on the S&P 500 attempts to stay around 4,030. And naturally, attempts to break back to 4,080, we saw that today it was very difficult to pass 4,050 after that when we went a little higher. We were rising around 4050, 4060, then after that, a pullback followed anyway, and as a result, the closure occurred around 4,030. According to the S&P 500 futures, we see that it is now moving up a little after tomorrow's data. What can happen? There may be a breakdown at 4,030, a hike to the area of 4,000. If we look directly at the wave graph, we will see that 3,986. This is just the zone 4,000 zone where the S&P 500 may leave. This is in principle an absolutely expected scenario, and from there will already be attempts to recover in the long term or in the medium term. There is a chance to rise to the area of 4.5 as he draws here, but in fact this scenario is premature. Because we have to wait for what data on the labor market will be. They determine the further dynamics of this connection. We are waiting now. S&P 500 will either break through 4 tomorrow or gain a foothold above 4,080. This is the scenario we expect for Bitcoin tomorrow, gentlemen. Here too, everything is clear. Bitcoin here tried to return to 20.00.01:25:37, an attempt to hold 20,000 here. And accordingly, in the future it is trying to plan to rise to 23,000. As we see the middle of the corridor that are directed downwards is the daily chart, it clearly shows us that in the area of 21,000. The middle of the corridor. If we move to this chart, then we will see what we have right now is the goal is in the region of 20,500. Here, he will try to return if tomorrow the S&P 500 data, respectively, that is, on open vacancies in the labor market. If they decline, S&P 500 will go respectively above 4,050 towards 4.080. Then we will just see 20,000 for Bitcoin. Here is a return if all the same data. There will be negative ones, that is, the probability of going back to 20,000. And even going down to 19.600. I have already said that there is a negative scenario in the area of 18.000. It is still probably to be expected. It is worth it until Friday, until the data on employment in the non-agricultural sector are actually released. Here is employment in the agricultural sector. If it continues to grow, then there is a possibility that then we can really end up on 18.000. Then S&P 500 will go to the area 3,880. This the level should be taken into account. Then we look at the Ethereum. Ethereum story is also the same here, too. There was an attempt to return to 1,540. And accordingly, of course, the main goal and task of Ethereum is to return to 2,000. This is also unlikely for now, because like Bitcoin, Ethereum is also subject to interest rates, which means, see what we see. Ethereum had an attempt to rise to 1,540. The level is around 1.600. But if he fails to do it tomorrow, that is, to go beyond 1,560 and rise to 1.600, and if tomorrow S&P 500 goes below 4,030, then most likely Ethereum will go too. down, then we can expect the arrival even in the area of 1.320. Or at the beginning of holding 1.440, if it still fails to hold, then the hike will go to 1,320. Here, and if still S&P 500. If it breaks 4,050, it goes to 4,080, then we can expect to reach 1,600 on Ethereum. All this, gentlemen, will depend tomorrow on data on the labor market and on the business activity index. Also, according to the Consumer Confidence Index on this, gentlemen, we are all waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow there will be a new video. Subscribe to us and track every day.